A real estate transaction is potentially the largest investment we make in our lives. Whether you're buying and selling your personal home or investing in real estate, you need the knowledge to make the right decisions. Get ready. Robin is a Texas realtor and has the experience to give you the information you need to make the right decisions. Welcome to Relax, I Got This with your host, Robin McCoy.
Hello, everybody. It's Robin McCoy with Relax, I Got This. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. And today I've got something kind of interesting, maybe not something that we talk about a lot when it comes to real estate, and it is staging your home. And I have an expert stager here with me. Her name is Nedra Hines, and she is with the Effortless Charm Staging Company. How are you, Nedra?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. So let's just talk about this. You know, when I was first getting my license back in the old days, staging was for, it just wasn't done all the time, right? It was just maybe for the really big, expensive houses or, somebody that maybe was a designer and they did it themselves. The common folk like me that don't have that gene to be able to design something or do those things just kind of did their best. So when do you think staging became the standard? And then how did you decide that that's what you wanted to do?
Thank you for asking the question. I will tell you that home staging was founded back in 1971 by a very seasoned home stager, and she is still actively staging. Her name is Barb Schwartz. So staging, even though it was founded back in 1971, is still very, very young, meaning that there are people who have been doing it I'm connected with stagers who have been doing it for 20 plus years, 20 to 30 years. And I will say that it has grown and has become more popular over time. Mm-hmm. What I realized for me, I wanted to do it because I had been in the corporate world for so many years. And even though I'm very grateful for the jobs that I've had, I always knew that after 3, 6 months or the first year, I started to get bored with my job. I was working for a mortgage company in this area where for the first time in my corporate journey, I found something that actually worked out well. When the senior vice president said that she thought that I wasn't a good fit for the group, which for me, it left me devastated because I was like, what do you mean? Like, I really, truly enjoy what I'm doing. I love the people here. How can you tell me that I'm not a good fit for the team? Like, that is so crazy. And so I was chatting with different people trying to figure out, okay, I do realize that I need to do something. And for whatever reason, what I've been doing so far is not working.
Right.
I was talking to people who have known me for a long time. And one of my friends, she's such a sweet lady. I was chatting with her. We kept coming back to decorating because that is one of the things that I can do. And it is effortless for me. I can just put things into place and people will like it. If it's my home, how I dress, it just, for whatever reason, it just works out. After talking to her, I thought, okay, I need to do something decorating-ish.
Okay.
I was dating a guy who, at the time, he was a licensed realtor. And as I was sharing with him, he said, you could do staging. And at the moment, I was like, oh my God, like, what do you mean staging?
What does that really mean?
I had absolutely zero knowledge. And just based on what he was saying, it sounded like staging was pretty much decorating. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay, well, I guess I can do that. And that's pretty much how I started staging, just realizing that everything that I had done, which was the kind of the same old thing that we tend to do, because that's what we know to do, that it just was not working and that I needed to find something completely new and different. I will say that it has worked out for me because I love project manager. I'm actually a certified project manager, and I love project management. That is what staging is. It is complete project management contracts, working with people. So I love that I get a chance to do that. Maybe 10% of it is the decorating piece. The rest of it is logistics and project management.
And just kind of putting it all together, making sure it happens, right?
Exactly.
Making sure it's like the real estate side. Sure, we show a lot of houses, but it is about getting to the finish line. It's always about getting to the finish line, right? So,
Exactly.
let's talk a little bit what staging is versus what it isn't. What is it not?
I will tell you that it's not decorating and it's not design, which a lot of people, when they hear of staging or they see staging photos, they automatically lump those into decorating, meaning decorating is for the actual person living in the home, where they're going to hire a decorator to basically come in, and whatever their taste is, whatever style they have, they're going to pay that person to display that in their home.
Okay.
So it is based on the homeowner's wants.
Sure.
As far as the actual look of it. Design, it is similar, and designers tend to knock out walls. They end up hiring contractors because they are changing the physical structure of that property. So it is based on the homeowner's needs and their wants.
Okay.
Whereas staging, we're literally staging for the broad audience of buyers, for every person, regardless of their walk of life. So staging, the actual look tends to be neutral furniture, and you'll see pops of color that will show in the throw pillows, the artwork, decor pieces. So it really truly is me and so many other stagers studying what actually resonates with buyers and bringing those items in. And it pretty much has, with the neutral furnishings, it has a more commercial look to it. Whereas decorating, design, you'll find just bold yellows, bold greens, because that's what the homeowner wants.
Right.
Whereas staging, those colors they aren't as popular, because those bold colors, they can really distract buyers' eyes. Meaning, whenever buyers see those bold colors, their eyes are focused on those bold colors. And staging is setting the stage so that they can see what they're buying. Meaning, we want them to see where they can put their furnishings and how much of their furnishings they can bring in. But what really truly matters is they need to be able to see the fixed assets of the property, meaning the flooring, the walls, ceiling. They need to know that when they go place an offer, that they know what they're getting. And putting bold colors and a ton of colors in front of them is not going to help, because they're not really truly focusing on what they want to buy.
Right, because they're distracted by like, oh, that wall's real red. Oh, there's a yellow one. And while there's nothing wrong with red and yellow walls, I'm not trying to criticize anybody's taste. But like we always tell sellers, the first things you want to do is neutralize everything. Get all your family photos, all your I had a client who was a big OU fan, and I said, you got to get rid of all this OU stuff. And he said, why is that? I said, because I don't want a UT fan coming in here not buying this house because of all the OU stuff. I said, just,
that's true.
It's political affiliations, it's religion, it's sports affiliation, it's family photos, it's all those things that because like you said, in staging, we're trying to neutralize everything so that regardless of who walks through that door, they can see themselves and their family in there.
Exactly. And also pets. So there was an open house that I went to recently where they had a cat, and they had a cat door, and the owners did not empty the kitty litter prior to that open house. When I walked in, I could literally smell it. And so it's pets, putting away signs of pets, dealing with pet odors, which for a lot of people, they love their pets. And they have to know that when someone walks in, someone who maybe doesn't have pets or they have allergies, that can be something triggering for them.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. And, you know, when you've got things like litter boxes and dog beds and dog crates and things like that, sometimes those just need to be put away.
Exactly.
During an open house or something like that, because we're trying to make it very neutral, right? Now you do a lot with vacant homes, correct? So you'll bring in, and how does that, let's say, you know, how's that work? Do you stage the entire house? Is it a couple of rooms? What do you feel is important in that area?
I will say that for me, what we have found is that the main living areas of a property consists of the living room, the primary bedroom and bathroom, the dining room, and the kitchen. So I do offer, and there are other staging companies where if they focus on vacant stagings, they will start with a basic package where you're getting, you know, living, dining, primary bedroom, bathroom, kitchen. And there are properties where the owner wants to, or the agent wants to stage either an office or a guest bedroom or a patio area.
Right.
So they can add on areas to those primary living areas. Okay. And we don't stage the whole house because we have found that most people are focusing on those main living areas.
Yeah.
And there are people who they do want every single room stage. And so yes, we can do that. It's just that we're focusing on what potential buyers are focusing on, because if they can't fit their furnishings and they can't fit their family members and their friends into those main living areas, they're not buying that property.
Right. And and some people have a difficult time with visualization, right? An empty house I will be the first to say, you can tell when you walk into a vacant house, that whether it's been recently vacated, like last week, the owners moved out, or it's been empty for a while. It just kind of loses some spark, a little life just kind of goes away. And so I think when you have soft furnishings, sofas and chairs and beds and a coffee pot and those sorts of things, that it softens just the ambiance or the feeling or the air in the house.
That's right. That's right. You got it. I can tell you've been doing this for a long time.
Well, I've done this part of it. Like I said, I do not have that gene at all. I've got good friends that know how to do that. It's part of my team, right? I always find the right people to fill in where my strengths are not. So let's say somebody's not moving out, right? Say somebody is going to stay in their house and they've got all their stuff. So if you're going to walk into my occupied house, what are some of the things that you're going to look for and possibly suggest that I do?
Okay, so I will say that for homeowners who will be living in the property while it's on the market, they can get a consultation, which is basically the stager touring the property with them and making recommendations on things that they can do to get the property ready. So there's a consultation, and then there are situations where they have some furnishings, they want to bring in more, plus they want to bring in artwork and decor pieces. So that is what we call occupied staging.
Okay.
I will say that I focus in the occupied world. I focus on the consultation piece, where I'm touring the home with the homeowners, and I'm making recommendations, and then they do the work after I leave.
Okay, so you're not actually, you're saying things like, you know what, I know the way you live, this chair and this sofa and that chair are great, but let's get one of those chairs out of here.
Exactly.
So that it feels bigger and it flows better, right? Exactly. And so you're just telling them to do that. You're not picking up the chair and putting it in the garage for them, or
No.
out into their moving truck or, or anything like that.
No, for those companies that offer occupied stagings, then yes.
Okay.
Yes, it will be moving furnishings, and either they will move it or they will hire movers, but
Sure.
yes, they will, the homeowners or the agent will be paying this stager to do the work for the homeowners.
Okay. Okay. But typically, I think I would imagine, and I could be wrong, that most occupied homes, or those homeowners that are occupying while on the market, probably would just take the consultation and do as much as they're willing of the recommendations.
They actually do. And I will tell you that, yes, I will say that the consultation piece has, for me, it has grown significantly this year. For the staging part, that is tricky, because whenever stagers are placing furnishings in a home while the seller and their family is living there, it is very, very high risk that damage will be done to those furnishings.
Especially if there's pets and children and those sorts of things that, I mean, just the inevitable things that happen day to day when you live in a house. I mean, when you're living there.
Be the leader you know you can be. Build your professional network and access education that takes you where you want to go. We are women of all ages and backgrounds. You deserve national recognition and opportunities to build relationships with people you want to work and grow with. Hit the ground running with the Charisma chapter of the American Business Women's Association. Meetings each month from 6 to 8:30 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday in Farmers Branch, Texas, and online. Come with us. Experience ABWA for yourself. Go to charisma.abwa.org to learn more.
I mean, just the inevitable things that happen day to day when you live in a house. I mean, when you're living there.
Exactly. And when those things happen, whoever the client is, they will be paying that staging company replacement costs for those furnishings. And so occupied stagings, they can get extremely costly.
Yeah, I would imagine. So what are some of the biggest obstacles that you find in what you do that might surprise people, and they could make it easier for you? Does that make sense? That might be some obstacles that you run across that people may not even be aware that they're making it difficult for you.
I will say that that the first one that comes to mind is them knowing that it's not decorating, and we're actually staging it so that we can draw the broad audience of buyers. That we're taking their comfortably lived in home and we're making it look like a model home, meaning all their personal items, family photos, all that. Pre-pack those items so that they can take those items to their next property when they buy it. And also omitting items, meaning that for people who are comfortably living in their home, which I will say that is most people, since we're there for so many years, we tend to have too many items when it comes to the actual staging piece. So just having them take down the 50 photos that are hanging. I had a consultation Monday where this guy, he loves his family and he has 4 granddaughters. He literally has photos of them from every single age, and they were all over the place. I mean, he literally had a lot, and he was shocked that he would have to pre-pack those photos for his granddaughter's safety, and that just him really truly getting that we're basically helping him get into the process of selling his home and to be on his way to the next destination. And so I think that a lot of people, even though they know that they will be selling their property, they're still attached to it. And they think of it as theirs, when for me, I'm coming from an angle of we want potential buyers to see themselves living in it, because when they can do that, chances are you're going to get an offer sooner rather than later.
I had years ago, I was walking through a house with a client, and all the family photos were all still on the wall. And so we're going down the hall, and it was two people, and one of the buyers went ahead, and I'm walking with the other one, and we're looking, and he was somebody I worked with. So we knew a lot of the same people. And we looked at the pictures and we're like, we know him. So then we knew who was in the picture. And then we spent the next 5 minutes trying to figure out whose house it was.
Exactly.
Not paying attention to anything else. We're like, well, whose house is this? Turns out it was the person we knew. It was his parents' house.
Oh.
So of course he was in the photos. So was his girlfriend. We knew them both, but we spent 10 minutes trying to figure out whose house we were in. And so it's things like that people don't realize are happening.
Exactly. People, I've seen things like people, they will leave out medicine bottles, they will leave out bills, they will leave out statements from their bank, just very, very personal items that, like you were saying, if a random person just comes in, which of course potential buyers, we don't know.
No, not always. We do our best. You know, as realtors, you do your best, but if you're up to no good, you're really good at manipulating, right? So, you know, there's as much as we as realtors can do, but you know, and I think that's part of it too, is when I start with the seller, is your house is going to stop being your house or your home, and it's going to become a product. We need it to look like anybody's house, not your house, anybody's house. And I think that's what you do at a very high level, is you take, people will say you're taking all the personality out of my house. Well, yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Right.
That's exactly what we're doing. And it's for a good reason.
Exactly. They have to get that we're not selling potential home buyers them and their personal selves. We're selling that property. We want them to see themselves and their families living in it.
Well, and that's why that is why people, human beings, like to wander nice furniture stores, right? Because everything is very neutral. They've got, I had a past job at Crate and Barrel, so everything would be staged, right? You'd have place settings set up, and you'd have living rooms set up, and you'd have all these things, and people just say, I'd like to come look at things because it felt good, and you could imagine it maybe in your house. And it's kind of the little bit of the opposite of that, where people are coming in and they're like, oh, this looks so nice, and it just makes people feel good, not wonder who lives here, or what kind of medicine are they taking, or what's the mail look like, what kind of magazines do they read, that sort of thing.
Right. You got it. That is it. That is why we do what we do.
And and I think a lot of people don't realize too, there's a lot of education to become a professional stager.
Yes.
Right. So I've got a list here of like all kinds of certifications and classes and things like that. You've had, let's see, VP of membership of the Real Estate Staging Association in Dallas. You are continually a member of the Real Estate Staging Association National Division, I guess, or organization. So tell me a little bit about some of those classes and those certifications, and how that levels you up.
Okay. Well, I will say that for anyone who's wanting to work as a stager, they don't have to do training. And I will say that if you're someone who is coming into it and you want people to take you seriously, the more education you can get, the better. They literally cover everything from contracts, how to work with clients, the actual things that we need to be saying when we have that first conversation with them, how to manage hiring movers. And for those who don't hire outside movers and they do the work, then let's talk about what you need to know so that you can move your own furnishings without doing damage to the actual property.
There's a lot of liability in all that.
It is.
There's a lot of liability.
It is risky, and what I've learned for myself by watching other stagers is that I don't want I don't want my clients to be my guinea pigs. So whenever stagers aren't learning, they have to learn the hard way on someone's property.
OTJ, on the job training.
Exactly. You literally learn as you're doing it. And I have found that me going to get formally trained has helped so much, because it helps me and it gives me the tools to work smarter rather than harder, and rather than accumulating this long list of angry clients, because you have to test it. Whatever you learn, you have to test it out on someone.
That's
So
right. That's right.
The best practices through formal training or through shadowing someone or working for a staging company, then you will learn however way you learn. But there are so many classes and online webinars. There's one where we cover paint color recently, and then there's another guy, he and his wife, they're in Florida. They'll be covering stats, so that for us as stagers, we'll know what actual stats we need to focus on to ensure that we have a profitable business. Meaning there are stagers. One of the things that we deal with is a lot of times we want to be nice and we want to give discounts, which I totally understand it. The problem that can lead to is when you're not charging what you need to charge to be profitable, then you will start to have problems delivering the actual product.
Right. I mean, and that's for anybody that owns their own business, right? You need to know you need to know where your money comes from. You need to know where your money is going. And you need to have, it's business standards, it's standards. But you also have to be able to show your value to your potential customers, right? Yes, I charge X, and it's not just decorating. I'm not gonna just throw a couple things down and call it done, or I'm not going to remodel your whole house. Right. This is the value I'm going to bring. And here is the statistics. I'm having trouble talking today. The statistics that show a house like this, staged house in this way sells for more money, faster, all those numbers, than one that is not.
Right.
So what is something that maybe we didn't touch on that you want to make sure that we get across today, and understanding the importance of what you do and how you can be flexible, whether you're an empty house or you just need a consultation?
I would say that one of the things that someone can do is, if they're thinking of selling their property, look at the actual rooms. And because we do have this where there are guest bedrooms where they may be set up as a gym, making sure that however way they're going to market that room when it goes live, making sure that it really truly looks like that, meaning all guest bedrooms should actually look like bedrooms and not one guest bedroom looking like a gym.
Okay.
I would say that. And then if they can at least look at any items that they have not used over the course of the past year, or items that they know for themselves that they're not going to use it, they're completely over it, start either donating, selling, or just getting rid of those items. Because when you get to the point where you're talking with an agent and you're wanting to list your property and maybe bring in a stager, it is far less work for you when you look at going live, if you can start just with those small actions to take. Just start getting rid of those excess items that you do not need. And if you're not going to take it with you to the next property,
if it's not going, let's go ahead and get rid of it. If it's not going with you for any reason, let's go ahead and get it out of the house. Because like you said, when so if you say, I'm going to sell my house in the spring, that's my timeline, then today, let's start looking at each room and saying, well, my kids are 27 years old. I guess I don't need their baby clothes anymore. And I may be extreme there, but you know what I mean, is, you know what, I never did like that painting on the wall. I'm not taking it to my new place. I'm going to go ahead and take it off the wall and send it to Goodwill.
Exactly.
Things like that, so that by the time I come in, a lot of that's done. And so then when we bring you in, it just minimizes, because it's a stressful time when you're actually getting your house on the market. Now you've got to get it ready for photos. You've got to get it ready for people to come in. You're going out and looking for a place to move to potentially. So it's a very stressful time. Let's eliminate some of that ahead of the game.
Right. That's it.
All right. That's the game plan, right? So everybody go and start cleaning out your closets and start looking at the stuff that's just in the way. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Then call me. We'll get it listed. I'll call Nedra. We'll get her in, and it will be a beautiful thing.
Exactly. We'll sell that home. Trust us. If you count on us, and
that's right.
We are going to do whatever we need to do to get that home sold.
All right. Well, Nedra, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I've learned a little bit, some of the things that just go into it, and kind of the differences of that. It's not just decorating. It's a different thing. It's not an offshoot of it. It's not a subcategory. Staging is a different thing from design.
Oh, yes, totally.
Yeah. So, all right. So if anybody is out there thinking about selling their home and they'd like a consultation with Nedra, all her information is going to be in the show notes, so you can reach out to her. If you are maybe you're a flipper and you have empty homes that you're going to be selling, she can help you out with that. If you're a real estate agent looking for a stager for your buyers, there she is. So we've got lots of opportunity, and she's wonderful. She's wonderful to talk to and work with. So I recommend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you again for tuning in to this episode of Relax, I Got This. Make sure you follow us on your favorite podcast, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, follow, share, all those good things so you never, ever miss an episode. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us for Relax, I Got This with Texas Realtor Robin McCoy. Check out all the show notes for contact information on Robin and her guests, and to access your free buyer and seller guides. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a conversation. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Relax, I Got This with Robin McCoy.